To your shareholders, I must say we are all very privileged for your support. Over the last 1 year, we've had really an unbelievable year in many ways. We were cruising along, having many successes. Along the way, we had a few hits and a few misses, and we will own up to that today to you. First up, I would say I'd like to very sincerely thank our employees who put this organization together. This bank is very lively, and that's something that is really amazing for us to just be a part of every single day we come to work. Coming to work is not a burden. Coming to work is joy. It's a challenge, of course. Our job, our work is a challenge, and currently the stage of the bank itself does need managing it here and there. But employees are very charged, and the very hardworking. It's really a lively place. So thank you, employees. I want to just say that to all of you. I want to just say to you all through this medium, because I don't know how many you see my videos on SNT, but certainly, hopefully today you hear me, that to put an organization together like this is a rare privilege. We've had integration of two organizations. It's been a year now. I have completely forgotten who belongs to where. In fact, one day someone asked me saying that how many people of this of Capital First and how many employees of IDFC Bank are still with us? How many people had to leave the organization? I just looked at him. I said, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't collect this data. It just merit speaks here, and so on. So basically, we are one organization. We've forgotten everything of our history about who comes from where and what database and all that stuff. Now, I also want to say a very big thanks to the past management of the bank, who in its previous avatar, and past management of Capital First, respective people who built it. I thank every one of you building out of it, which are scaling up. And Dr. Lal and absentia, say thanks to you as well for all the work you put and all the stuff you built. Now, with that stuff, I'd like to just say that as a bank, we are working very much in a very coordinated way, and that's very important. It is very important. In fact, during the Corona crisis, there was this thing about how to we coined something called Project Shoulder in one of such conferences. And in the Project Shoulder, we just said, how can every division help other division? Because right now it's Corona, how are we going to help? And then we said, okay, you're in the collections team, you're in the asset sales team, but if you're not selling auto loans, or if you're not selling loan against property, why don't you open bank accounts? So basically, everybody is shouldering each other. At the time of CSR, we were actually saying that, look, instead of doing CSR and buying masks and distributing the rural area, how about employing our own customers? Pay them money in the rural areas and ask them to make masks, so they get a livelihood and we get the masks. And then we distribute them in the rural area. There was one customer who was running restaurants. We picked up tiffins from him, and he would be distributed to the people who needed it. So basically, people get an employment and an income, and also at the same time, something good happens. So basically, you get the drift. So we are very proud that the core business we do drives the economy. Core business we do creates economic value down the chain through credit and through savings and all that stuff. And we want to layer up in a very significant way by using technology to make it happen. So that's my very quick brief about how we are thinking about the bank. Now, I have a small presentation for you, but I will keep it very quick for you in the interest of time. So this is what we have for you. Now, let me just say in one short word, if you ask us, what did you do this year? I must say that we built the foundation. It's very important for us to think like this, because really, if you come into a cricket pitch and start hitting sixes of the first ball, and you might get a 6 or 2, but you might a couple of wickets will go down, and by the time before you realize you'll be 10 for 3, and then you wouldn't know where to look. And then the rest of the game is forever slow, because the middle order batsman, a late order batsman was supposed to come and hit the runs in the sixes. They will be sitting and building the innings. So therefore, we really have thought about this, and we figured out that this is the year of building the foundation. Now, I must say we got a larger agenda, but I'm not going to take you through this level of detail. But basically, I want to just start by saying what is our vision and mission statement. It all starts from there. Our mission, and I'm very serious about it, seems to say we want to touch the lives of millions of Indians in a positive way by providing high-quality banking products and services to them, with particular focus on aspiring consumers and entrepreneurs of a new India using contemporary technologies. This it's just not a statement. We really believe in it, and we want to align people with that. And we are in the founding years, so if we are making any mistakes, we want to fix it quickly, and we want to build some good stack. Now, many of you have been a little disappointed about us about not posting profits, which I do acknowledge. But I just want to say that this year has been a very, very important year. If I could take a minute to explain this to you, when we started this year, Capital First had 30,000 crores of assets, did not have any liabilities. I mean, had liabilities, but they were all wholesale liabilities. IDFC Limited, they also had assets but did not have retail liabilities. It was largely, borrowings and bonds and all that. So basically, assets plus assets makes it assets, and there are the retail liabilities. Now, the good news was that IDFC Bank had built up a very good stack and done a lot of hard work and built the basic platform for the raising liabilities, retail liabilities, which we scaled upon. So the first objective of the bank was to scale up core deposits. What we call core deposit is retail CASA and retail term deposit. This is sticky money. So we grew this from 10,000 crores to 39,000 crores from the merger date to today. That's a really big jump. And you might say, what did you do 20,000 crores? And where did the money go? You must say that we use this money straightforward in paying off a certificate deposit. In fact, when we first walked in after the merger, we saw that we had a lot of certificate deposit. Now, what is certificate deposit? It is a short-term money, institutional money, and it's brittle. So when things go bad, this money really holds up. And it really happened in the corona crisis of March and April. Suddenly, markets froze. 3 markets froze, not one. 3 markets. And at that point of time, the bond markets froze, which is the NCD market, the CP market and the CD market dramatically froze. Nobody was lending to each other. So they were very uncomfortable. People are cutting risk limits on each other. And every day that was a panic discussion going on. Then the money markets had become frozen. Everything went wrong at that point of time. And if at that point of time we had not wound on 28,000 crores of brittle, short-term money, then we wouldn't have been as smiling as we were. So this money straight went to pay off this CD. And therefore, end of the year, we were sitting only for a balance sheet as large as, loan book of 1 lakh crore and liabilities at 1,60,000 crore. 1,60,000 crore. We had only 7,000 crores of this money. And I just want to say you that one of the fundamental foundation for the bank is safety first. As the MD and CEO of the bank, I always think about the depositor first. I want to make sure that there's enough money in the bank at all points of time. And it is not just slogans won't take us there. To take off this money, which is high, brittle money, was our first objective. I can assure you, all shareholders, that our bank is super safe. You can bring every penny of your personal, savings to our bank. You can be absolutely safe. My brothers, my sister, my family, myself, my friends whom I know, I encourage every one of them to bring the money here. You're entering my personal money. Everything is here. Second objective is that we wanted to build retail assets. There are some benefits of retail assets because clearly it brings diversification. This runs over millions of customers, and therefore it brings basically diversification. It brings intellectual property. This is a very unique business where you go down to the grassroots, meet people people who can borrow 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, 25,000 rupees from you at maybe 15, 16, 18% rate of interest. And that operating cost of the business is rather high, and that's why the rates are high. But to do that through scale, technology, and intellectual property really creates value. Then you might say, how did you grow this by 16,000 crores? Then how did you do it? Again, it is not just an accident. It's not a fluke. We're not building a story in hindsight, but quarter on quarter on quarter on quarter, we brought this down. So therefore, we released 16,000 crores from wholesale money and put it all up in the retail side. This was a very fundamental reason. This brought us safety and diversification. I told you our objective number 1 is safety. So we got safety and diversification. The third thing that we have is, this is important for you to note, that you can clearly see how 25% has now become 64% on the liability side, which means that 64% of our customer deposits are now retail, and this is stable. On the asset side, clearly from 35% we're now 54%, so you can see it's pretty much satisfied. The fourth thing about the bank is that we are paying 7% of savings deposits. So people, I just wanted to know, we may be paying 7%, but I want to tell you that the NIMs of the bank has touched 4.53%. This is among, as you can see, good banks in India, all the top tier banks, good banks have 4.2% NIM. Tell you that they were 1.56%, it is now touched 4.53%. Even on merger, it was 2.89%. You can see that the pre-processing operating profit has moved from a 32 crore pre-merger. On merger, 276, now touched 555 crore. I can just say that we built this stable foundation. The other important thing to know is that the asset quality of the bank has been pretty stable. You can see here that it's now 0.9% and 0.5%. Of course, they benefited from Corona because the moratorium is exists, so customers are not aging. So this we may not be entirely representative. Maybe the truth is maybe around 2% or 2 point, maybe 2.5%. But you can still get the sense that as a trend line, even prior to the moratorium, you can see that the retail NPA is very stable for the bank. And I can tell you, it's just not 1 year; it's full 10 years. For 10 years, Capital First ran the book at gross NPA of 2% and net NPA of 1%. Now, 10 years of doing this, despite the fact that the customer profile is of slightly of a different profile. It's a small retail book that was built by IDFC Bank prior to the merger. Let me just say it's all fantastic. I have no complaint at all. They're doing there's absolutely no issue whatsoever. The other thing is about liquidity ratios. Our bank always maintains high liquidity ratios. We try to keep at 120, but we seem to have a bit more than our own requirement. Our capital is quite strong. So at the merger quarter, we had a bit of a goodwill accounting, which that ended up posting a loss. Then in the next quarter, we found Dewan Housing and Reliance Capital. We took a provision of 15% for that. Next quarter, situation on these accounts really deteriorated. So, every time I tell you, it was very hard for us. We did not take posting losses lightly. I want to assure you, shareholders. But what do we do? You start the quarter, you find a bad news on Reliance Capital, Dewan Housing. It is not yet technically NPA, but news is bad, smell is bad. So as a bank, it is our job to come and say it. So we had a choice. I mean, it is not easy for us to come in front of television channels and media and shareholders and disappoint you and say that we posted a loss. It was really never gave us joy. But if we postpone this problem, then this would have been a big problem later because it just compounds in its size and scale. So we set the number as it is. The next quarter, we discovered that these two entities were going down much faster. Then we took the provisions to 75%. That gave us the provisions of that amount. Then next quarter, we had the DTA link stuff. The next quarter, we figured out that we had this Vodafone, Idea account in India. There was pretty bad news coming from that telecom company. So where the management themselves are saying, I have concern about going concern. So we said, look, we can't be sitting on this issue. We had a 3,300 crore exposure. We couldn't deny the issue, neither we never wanted to. The point I'm trying to say is that every single time we had some or the other issue, and then we had some infrastructure accounts along the way. Now that resulted in, the bank did not have any significant core profits to take this up, and therefore we did, post. I can just tell you, shareholders, that it is not easy decision for us, but I was very clear that we got to say things as it is. So this is, one thing you should expect from us shareholders. We will never sweep anything under the carpet. This is my assurance to you. And as this bank starts building and getting the profit zone, you can trust the numbers. So I'm also happy to tell you that in March of 20, posted 72 crores of profit and 94 crores of profits. I must say that for those of you who are very concerned, and I think Morgan Stanley reports about us are always pretty pretty unflattering, and they are quite concerned. In fact, they put out a report about us that our stock should be worth 20 rupees or something, even before the Corona crisis. And after the Corona crisis, they took our stock price to 10 rupees on a bear case and 12 rupees, I think, or something on a normal case. Now, the why I point that out is that people usually get very focused here. But I can tell you, I've seen the situation before. I want to assure you, because what happens even Capital First, this company was having a loss of 28 crores and 30 crores. And on a true basis, if you strip out securitization, all that stuff, you posted a loss of, and this is where, even after, my taking over for 2 years, there were losses. But once we got this 3.8 crore, 35, 53, 114, 166, so on, then it takes off from there. And you could see what happened to EPS. It pulls off from here. But in this stage, if we do shortcuts, if you start fearing the markets and you start fearing everything, we start fearing our own shadow, then this will never work. That's why we are going through the current phase, but I can assure you, we're putting the building blocks in such a way that this is how the company will. Now, I am not at all, but I'm making it clear, I'm not trying to assure you that this is how the trajectory of IDFC First Bank. You have to please make your own assumptions. You have to estimate it. I please do all your homework. But I can tell you that this is how I believe if you play a stroke straight, no cross-batted shots, and if you don't hide things, and we build a core operating model which makes core income, then this is a one-way street to success, because that's how the Indian opportunities are. Now, when it comes to culture, we've written this annual report, basically, that we even look at the, how people conduct themselves, how they conduct in society, how they committed to the mission, not to use vulgar language in office. We just are trying to build a bank which is people are clean, from within. And in fact, in this incident of Yes Bank was going on, we actually wrote a mail to people, don't chase down Yes Bank customers. It's okay, that's not how they want to build the bank. And we really are running the bank in a clean way. And I want to just share that with you. Now, in terms of foundation, I tell you that our customers, we very much recognize our responsibility. Our customers are often poor people, and some, of course, are rich, and some, of course, are even taking home loans of 1 crore and 5 crores. But there are also people who borrow 15, 20,000 rupee loans from us. What is not wealth for them is probably wealth for them. Maybe even 100 rupees is wealth for them. We respect that. And therefore, we tell our people not to design any programs here and there that chip off and odd money from the customer's pocket. Neither I don't want to get rich like that. Neither any of your shareholders want to get that kind of income. We don't practice something called a fine print banking. And, we want to be pretty straight and transparent to customers. By the way, let me tell you that, when we do enjoy our customers' trust, I have to share this with you that in a COVID quarter, when world is collapsing like this, bulls lockdown, market gas down 10%, 20%, markets get the shivers, Black Friday for markets, it is just unbelievable. The GDP growth 7 year, this issue, corona, crude oil shocks, all these, you see the whole stuff. After all this in that quarter, every crisis, our bank got 4,600 crores of retail deposits that quarter. So basically, I can say that we do enjoy our customers' trust. People are wondering, in this crisis, how are you growing deposits? Yes, in that crisis, we're growing deposits of 4,600 crores. It says something about a bank. I therefore say that if we build the foundations right, if we keep the smell right, and people think well of our bank, and image is good, customers feel good about us, then there is no stopping the story of this bank. There is no stopping. There's only one problem for our bank: our core earnings are low. We will fix that, because naturally it will get fixed, because you borrow money at 7, lend it at maybe 12 or 13 or 15, you will make money. There's no question about that. So that will happen in due course. Maybe in every story it starts like this, but eventually it pulls off like that. So I believe the story is coming. On the liability side, I can tell you things are quite pretty good. So we introduced the stuff in technology, but I'll rush you through all this stuff just to tell you that how we think of creating value. It's a pretty old story that I used to actually scribble on sheets of paper to people when they're trying to raise money for private equity for our company to get the backing. At that time, I used to follow this model saying that if you have intellectual property, if you have scalability, if you have growth in India, you can grow at 25%, I think, for a pretty long time, and you generate return on equity of 16, 18%, or probably even 20, then this is an unbeatable combination, provided the corporate governance is good. And of course, I wish we had said some things about customer, etc. But those days I didn't have the wisdom to say all that. So then that's it. So we're rated pretty well by the rating agencies. We're AA stable for long-term unsecured subordinated debt. Please see the import of that. It's not for normal secured debt. It's a AA stable CRISIL for long-term, that's 7-year money, unsecured, subordinated debt is AA. That's a pretty good rating. That's very few banks in the country have that kind of rating. And on the fixed deposit program, we are rated AAA. So, AAA CRISIL really means AAA CRISIL. It's called FAAA. But I don't want to tell you shareholders that we're in good space. So, I do admit that many of you are disappointed with us about what our profits are posted this year. I take responsibility for it. The best way to think about it is that in a stack sense, the liability stack is fantastic built. We're only scaling it up. The asset stack is largely capital first lending stack, because that's a proven model for 10 years. And on top of it, that's an oversimplification. You also have the wholesale book, which is important to us. And the extent that retail is also built here, we're scaling all of that together. But in a summary sense, that's how it works. So this is the new model for you. I also enjoyed the many benefits of what people build. That's it. First of all, thank you very much for your questions, and each one of your questions make us think. And to the extent that I can answer you right away, I will do that. Number two, with regard to your suggestions, we will take every one of them on board, and all our management teams are on this conversation, so every one of them will look at the respective departments and implement whatever we can. Number three, with regard to your wishes and with regard to your compliments, actually, that few that came by, thank you very much. We take every one of your compliment as a responsibility. So when you say that because I'm here, you're feeling safe with the money, I don't take it lightly at all. I take it as a responsibility. I can very safely say that I understand how well hard-earned money is across income segments, whether you're rich, you're middle class, you're lower middle class, or poor. Everybody's wealth is important, but particularly the middle class and the lower middle class, for them, this is it. This is all. They don't even have surpluses. So I do take it as an extra responsibility on me that we should live up to your standards and your faith. As I said once before, but I'm saying it again, just to be sure you heard it, that you can be absolutely be in peace about a bank with regard to the way we run the bank. We may have had issues with regard to profits over the last 4 quarters, but I can safely say that in our bank, you will not find an iota of corporate governance issues at all. It is my assurance to you. Run it like that. I have been personally a huge beneficiary of high corporate governance. I'll give you a small example. When Capital First's return on equity was only 6%, just 6%, our price to book was trading at 3 to 3.5, and some stage even 4. And there were institutions which had return on equity of even 20%, but price to book were trading at 1. Now, nothing explains it, just that people believe us and they believe on numbers. So the day I believe that as an organization, we have posted losses for 6 quarters at a stretch. It has disturbed you. But I do believe that the way we are incrementally building the book, as the story starts playing out and becomes positive, our shareholders will get to see the increase in profits and therefore, hopefully, the increase in share prices and all that. Now, I'd like to now also say that many of you asked questions asking me to address issues about my stake sale. And I would like to answer this as follows. And as basically, the questions are 3 or 4. They've come from many quarters, and our investor relation head Saptarshi has got many questions saying that why is Vaidyanathan selling his stake such aggressively? And next question was that does it mean that he's not interested in the bank? Does it mean that he's not seeing future in the stock of the value of a stock? And there were a number of other questions. Now, let me just answer this question as straight as I can. Basically, in Capital First, what really had happened was that the idea when I had left ICICI Bank was that there was a finance company where I wanted to buy a stake, and the stock price was about 100 rupees at that point of time. My theory was that if I buy the stake at 100 rupees, 150 rupees, then after work on it for 3 or 4 years, I believe this price of the stock will go up. And at some point of time, I thought I will sell the stake and close the loan. So I had taken a personal loan of about 78 crore rupees, and I had bought with the company. Now, it so happened that my average purchase price was 162 rupees a share. And within 1 year of my buying the stock price actually came down to 90 rupees shares. So I fell short of margin cover. And at that point of time, I had even mortgaged my house and a few other things to just stay that the stock doesn't get sold. Then eventually, then we got the equity backing. The company started doing very well, and it was because of all our employees and your goodwill of shareholders. And the stock price went up to over 700, 800 rupees. At some stage, I thought that I have to undo my loan because it was very high. And therefore, I sold the stock at about 700 rupees. And I got 107 crores for it. I closed the loan. And basically, I had made about 5 or 6 times my investment price. So then I just thought that this had worked so well. And that did a soft landing comfortably. Now, at the end of this transaction, I did another round of exercising of ESOP. It costed me about 35 crores, including tax of about 20 crores we paid to the government of India. And I kept the loan on me because I thought that under the same logic, if I keep the stock for another 5 years, 8 years, the stock has to go up. And I thought at some place I can enjoy the appreciation. And I thought appreciation of the stock will beat the cost of funds of that holding that loan. Some of you have raised a big concern about the fact that why did I gift away stocks to here and there and all that. So yes, it is true that I had a loan of about 40 crores when I gifted the stocks to those, to a few people who are mentioned in the annual report. And then to the trust which had transferred about 40 crores of the stock. Then in 2020, March, I was very bullish about a company, about a bank. So I exercised another 2 crore shares and I paid another close to 50 crores of about 50 crores of loan for that. So this 50 crores and the prior 40 crores, all 90 crores was on me. And I believe that if I held for 4-5 years, the cross stock will create value. And again, I can square it later like Capital First. So happened, I had not factored for Corona. And Corona just blew away things. And from a price of 40 rupees, stock came out of 20. I was out of margin. And there was one particular foreign lender who was really very concerned and was pushing very hard for squaring of the loan. They reduced increased the margin cover. And as a senior leader of a bank, I did not want to be in a position where I'm holding a loan and any lender is concerned. So, and I did not have any other source of wealth to square the loan. So I took the only option available to me, that I sold the sold stock worth about 90 or 94 odd crores and closed the loan a second time around. Why I told you the story, just to let you know that this was just the fact that I believed stock held for long period and great value. But irrational things happen. COVID was rather irrational. And when it came, I dealt with it. I squared the loan, and that was the end of the matter. Now, so your question, why did I, give out gifts of 60 crores when I'm already running a debt? I always thought the debt can be squared anytime. I never knew how it going to collapse so fast. So that's the end of the matter. I've clarified myself as honestly as I could. There's no more to it, no less to it. You don't have to worry whether I'm committed or not committed. I'm very committed. I believe it's a rare opportunity. All of us, not just me, my colleagues, Pradeep, Amit, Madhi, and the rest of the teams have got in the organization to build a great bank. We're very much here, and we're going to build a great bank. So all of you who have deposited money with us, I want to say that to you. Now there are some of you who spoke today, and there's one professor who wrote to me, I think from Columbia or somewhere, early this morning, as well as a couple of weeks, months, years ago also, saying that we trust in you so much that we want to invest our entire life savings in buying your stock. And we heard that from two college students just now also, that whatever I have, I'm going to buy because I believe the bank so much, or I believe you whichever way. Now, I want to just say this to you as to how to think about it. I can assure you, this bank is a fantastic bank. I tell you that if we do business the honest way, the ethical way, clean way, and we have a core margin to build. We borrowed 7 lender, 12, 13, 14. This has to be profitable. This has to grow. And when you compound the NIM margin of 6 or 7% year on year on year on year, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, this has to become unbelievably profitable. I have no doubt about that. But I must say this to you, as to for those of you who trust us so much to invest their entire life savings into your equity, I say stop. I say think again, because I request you to diversify. I have to be honest about this, because we are an early stage bank. We have started up now, so our core earnings, pre-provisioning operating profit, is low. Our return on assets is low. In fact, it's just coming out, and a worm is coming out of profit just now. While if you see other fantastic banks in India, there are great banks, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, and there are so many other banks that are done who had a history of 18, 20, 25 years. They have been through this phase in their life, and today they're in a position of having strong margins, even at a pre-operating profit level, at an operating profit level. Now, therefore, if you, there is absolutely no doubt that a bank will do well. But please, as I advise you on a personal basis, to much as I appreciate your faith, to diversify yourself and have, you don't need to diversify your savings. I can tell you can put every penny of your savings in a bank. I can tell you you're absolutely safe. You manage the bank really very well. And I told you what we've done last year. We've replaced a lot of our certificate deposits with good, high quality, public, diversified money. They're absolutely safe. Feel very good about it. On equity, you think and make up your own mind. I appreciate the confidence, but diversification is always good, because we are early stage. Others have evolved there. For them, the earnings power is strong. We are single focusedly running towards a strategy. There is no confusion in mind, and we have intellectual property. We have margin. We will have working on a niche area, and we will have corporate governance. This model has to be, and we are very focused on customer. So all these things will work, and eventually, therefore, you can be assured that the bank will create value. No doubt about that. Just make sure that you are adequately diversified in life. Now, this is what I probably advise even a near and dear one or close one. Now, with regard to some of the other questions raised by you, there's one more question here again brought by my colleague Satish, Morgan Stanley. Now, this one says that why is it that Morgan Stanley always has a view about our bank? Now, Morgan Stanley believes that our core earning power is low. They believe it's going to be a long time to get to return on equity. That is what in our parlance and banking parlance we call cost of capital. Now, they believe that is quite a while away, because our starting point is in a very lower earning power. They believe that our liability side needs a lot more work. And they believe that we're going to put branches, and therefore that cost is going to come. So they have exercised the best judgment. Now, I have never called them and asked them to revise the numbers, never pleaded to them, nothing. I see you write what you want to write. I will tell you what I think about it. I think they are not able to value the core strengths of the bank. They are not able to value, they valued us recently, they told us our stock price should be 10 rupees, right? On a bear case, on a normal case, it should be 13 rupees. For a book value of 30, that means the value is at about 0.4 times book is what they believe it should be worth. I personally believe that for a bank which has really high people, there is an internal buzz in the organization. If you're a fly on the wall of a bank, you would know how much people are still working and motivated and things are going for a clear strategy, for a clear model. There is, they are not able to value this high quality corporate governance. They are not able to value that the organization has a core model that will eventually become very profitable. So they are getting purely mathematical, in my opinion. I'm telling you today, you watch out for time. There will come a time when I will make them reverse their opinion about us. And I will not ask them for it, they will do it themselves. You watch for the date, it will happen. Okay, this is my comment, it's on record. You can quote me to this sometime in life. Now, similarly, Goldman Sachs has a similar view about us, and we believe that our core model is very, very, very strong. It just has to play out. That's it. Now, the other thing someone has asked here on my note. Again, it comes back to gifting as to what is this gifting you've done to somebody for 50,000 shares. I have stock. So if I want to help someone, I don't have necessarily cash on hand. I earn a normal salary, I pay my EMIs for my home loan, and I'm like anybody else. So the only wealth I have is stock. So if I want to really help someone, or I want to assist someone, I just transfer stock to them. So that's what I do. So whenever, from time to time, I do give stock here and there, but I don't want to read this as either alienating my stock or disinterested in the company. I mean, this will keep going on. And whenever I do, the only assurance I'll give you, I'll inform the stock exchanges. And but don't read anything more than that about my stock activities. Do I have a loan now, which I'm using to have I done the next leverage, and what have I learned from it? The next question has come here. Well, the answer is that very simple. As we speak, I have not taken any more loans for buying my ESOP, etc. That is a bad day, or let me say a tragic day that happened. I had to sell the stock in such weird conditions at 20 rupees a share when the book value was 30. But that is that. I mean, I got to live with it, and I've got to bite it, and I have to move ahead. Will I leverage my stock again for any purposes? Well, I am a professional, like I said, and I have stock. And if I have any mismatch of cash flows, I could always leverage the stock, but it'll never be the order of magnitude, hopefully, that should have to one day sell the stock. So that's about. Since I got many questions up front, I've answered the question. Now, there's another question that has come on return on equity and the guidance for that. I've broadly told you the business model of the bank. This has to be profitable, because eventually, we're going to start at maybe 1% at ROE, ROE equal 2, equal 3, equal 4. Eventually, that worm will turn. As someone asked the question about profit, I tell you one thing: this is the early stage of the bank. If I keep going after profit at the benchmark, it's like saying that I'm going to hit a six even though the ball is bowled. You'll only get, you'll have a pretty bad outcome. So I tell you one thing: the way I think about this is that this is a very long-term story we're playing. It's a very great bank we can build. Now, ROE, I just tell you that over the next few years, this return equity will definitely improve. And, we have guided for, say, 15%, or maybe 30 to 15% in 5 years when we started. Well, has COVID turned the story? A little bit. Not a little bit. At least I think we lost a year in that process of COVID, at least on returns front. But things will come back. I mean, we are going to play a game for decades, then how, we got to bite a year and take it and keep moving. Now, the next question somebody has asked us is about moratorium, and they were very particular about moratorium. Well, on this, all the matters already put out in public domain. In moratorium 1.2, we were quite liberal. We gave it to customers. About 45% of our book was in moratorium. In moratorium 2.2, about 23% of our retail customers are in moratorium. It is basically the wholesale customers, which are about 35% of the book is in moratorium. But frankly, all wholesale book we don't worry so much about, because many of them are just taken it as a precautionary measure that will come down. As far as the retail moratorium of 3% is concerned, the end of this quarter, we expect this to come down to about 10%, because the collections process after the moratorium process is coming is picked up very well. To give you one idea, in rural area, 100% of our customers in moratorium when we started about a quarter ago. Last month, about 85 to 90% of the customers paid, even though they had a right to take moratorium.
I mean, it's a very big thing, which means only 10% stay, 15% stay as of now, 85% paid. Now, that's the kind of lift off that's coming in rural. Generally things are turning, things are getting better in India's economy, etc. And that the terrible, April that we saw where everything seems to be collapsing around us, etc. That window is over. So we're feeling reasonably good about it. But has COVID not set us back? Of course, it has. Will it come back? Of course, it will. That's my quick and short answer. Now, someone asked us, your lending rates are high. So does it mean that how do you manage the risk for this? I can tell you that there is no joy playing in an absolutely commodity business where the lending rates are 8%, 7%, all that stuff. Because what is the intellectual value we created? Nothing. So the way we think about it is that we have over 9 or 10 years developed these technologies and capabilities to lend small loans of maybe 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore kind of loans yields of anywhere between 12 to 20%. Now, by the way, these customers were not getting credit. Let me tell you this. When we started many of the businesses, we were doing, close to about 20,000 loans. To start the first year we operated business, close to about 18,000 of the customers never filed a tax return. So we discovered that you lend to people who don't file tax return, who banks don't lend to. That is when we get great value. And now the next question is with regard to gold loans, whether we'll start it. The answer is yes. Someone mentioned, Mohit in Chennai mentioned that 35 branches only 2 have lockers. Okay, we'll look into it, we'll fix it. The colleague Amit Kumar who the business is hearing the conversation. I'm sure we'll look into it. Internet banking not having ASPA facility, will fix it. Minimum balance of 25,000, many people talked about it. Yes, I mean, we went to 25,000, but we also introduced a 10,000 rupee product now, and people can take it. Promoter holding, can we look for a reverse merger? Short answer is and how we thinking about shareholding. So these are matters that we are thinking about at this point of time. We've not had a formal board discussion about how to deal with the promoter shareholding 40%. Surely, after the RBI norms come, they have a right to reduce. We will engage the regulator and whatever the best solution possible we will do. But next question will be one mutual fund business. I've always told you it's a straight answer. No, we don't want to get insurance, no mutual fund, nothing. We're running a simple bank. We just want to run a bank. I don't think we want to do anything else. Your next question is that you're launching a card with other people. Will you launch your own credit card? Yes, we will launch a credit card. Please watch out for it. And whenever that opportunity comes, please subscribe to our credit card. All of you are used to other banks' credit card for a long time. Please use our card also. You'll like it the way we're putting it together. Next question is on fintech. People said, short answer is yes, of course. We do work with fintechs. We believe there's a big collaborative opportunity there. So we do work with many of them, including Flipkart. Someone asked a question about some civil report being reported for 60,000 rupees. Yeah, that was an issue. We fixed it. Then somebody said the branch locator is not updated. Okay, we'll update it. How do you plan to reduce savings rate is your question. Now, on that front, I would like to give a simple answer. Now, we pay 7%, all right. But because we have a legacy of a Capital First and IDFC Limited all having relatively 8 or 9% cost of funds, we are going to continue paying 7% for a while because it's a very simple trade. When you compare the ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, etc., of course, they are offering, 3 or 4, whatever they're offering. But we don't want to compare with them because the space we play is different than them. We don't play many of the spaces they play in. And therefore, our blended yield is higher, number one. But more importantly, we have a legacy. We have 45,000 crores of loans borrowed by this entity, which are honoring even today at 8.5%. So you borrow money at 7, a square of 8.5 is a pretty good trade. So for me, 7 is an expensive money for an SBI or ICICI in a saving, but 7 is pretty cheap money for me because I'm paying 8.5 anyway. So you get the drift. So that will continue for a while. And of course, eventually when this 45,000 crore runs off, then what we do. So one Mr. Akshay Kumari, Gautam Tiwari, he said good things about us. So thank you for your comment, and I take it as responsibility. Somebody's again asked me about my shares. I've already answered the question. Someone said, have you moved it to register office to Mumbai? No, we haven't thought about it. With regard to Vodafone, somebody asked whether you will reverse this income and add it back to your profit. No, we have no such plans. We want to wait for the issue to settle and for the proper clarity to emerge because we can't be in and out of this game. We can't reverse it. Tomorrow, Vodafone is a problem again. We can't go and take provisions again. We can't confuse people. So we'll wait for the full clarity to emerge before we look at it. And someone asked, are you planning to take equity? Are you planning to use 2,000 crores of equity raised for any other purpose? The answer is no. Answer is that we do not expect to use this 2,000 crores for writing off a bad loan. That's not the objective of raising the 2,000 crores. The objective is that it was supposed to be an insurance at the time of Corona crisis. Insurance has been taken. Well, we don't expect to post any big losses now. That has to eat up the capital. Now, so once a person suggested that they were very disappointed at the rate at which we raised this capital, the price we did. I must give you a short answer that at that time, in the depth of the crisis, it felt terrible. We just never knew how many people are going to get the coronavirus, how many people are going to die, how demand is going to happen, how the world market is going to be, whether we will get capital again or not in a long time. So these were many concerns with us. And as I told you, one of my key roles is we did safety first. The safety first philosophy, first we took the capital. It was quite amazing about our bank that even in the depth of the crisis, we got 4,600 crores of customer deposits. Even the depth of the crisis, we got 2,000 crores of public money, investors, high quality investors willing to back us. I tell you, this says something about us. We may have posted losses, but I tell you, the confidence we got from people who supported us at that point of time, it shows that, at least in their mind, that we are doing something right. And that right has to show in terms of value in due course. So we raised the capital, raised the capital, and I think that was the best thing at that point of time. But I tell you, even the people who gave us money at that point of time, we thank them. I believe they will make lots of money. I believe they came at 23 rupees, and hopefully in due course they will probably be very, very happy. But we appreciate their coming in at that point of time. Now, then there was this question about, they have stressed book. Again, the same question, whether we're going to have any more stresses. Well, on the wholesale book, it's always going to be you got to always watch it on the legacy wholesale book till it completely winds down. Because we do have infrastructure book even today close to about 13,000 crores. Now, when it winds down, will a little bit of hit come here and there of it? Maybe it will. If there's a problem, we will tell you. If there's no problem, we'll tell you there's no problem. We just have to wait out for that moment, and you watch out for the quarter. But I don't expect any big hits to come. I can tell you there are one or two accounts that do bother us. There is one toll road company where exposure is 950 odd crores. Now it's a toll company. During Corona, they did not get toll. Now what happens to that company? Now they are on moratorium. When moratorium lifts, are they going to pay? Probably yes, because hopefully economic activity starts and they start collecting toll. If they don't collect, what are we going to do? I am never going to hide from that issue. I will tell you it is not come, and I will, declare it as NPA. I tell you one customer who had a large exposure, they talk to us like this, saying that, you think about it, become NPA. If you do this solution, give it that solution, give me money back like this, you can avoid it. I said, you worry about your problems, I'll worry about my problems. But I'm not going to be blackmailed by your exposure being high. I will tell the shareholder the truth rather than buckle down to you. So I'm just telling you that's the straight which is playing this. No customers can wag us by having a large exposure and say, oh my God, it's going to be a problem for you. I don't fear the markets. I don't fear the media. I don't fear anything. I will just tell you things as it is. And therefore, people have to pay us. They will pay us because they know there are no running away options for them, and they will pursue all these people to get the money back. Why Surat? Why no branches? Well, they'll put more branches. We thank you for that. Ashoka Scholarship, yeah, it's part of our CSR activity that we had contributed to Ashoka, basically for students who are economically not well and got admission to prestigious university. Now, next is Mr. Rajiv Agarwal. The back-end process for opening bank accounts was slow and you felt it took months. Okay, we're sorry about that. Must have been a mistake from our side. We will understand this and fix it. If we get these issues, our team does look into it, fixes it. Now, question is that are you going to add more branches? Yeah, the answer is yes. Of course, we are not opening at the pace at which you opened last year because we want to watch out for how the corona completely shifts the game. If it's moving from physical to digital, is it putting money in branches? Is it good or bad? We always think about these things, but the answer is that we are still on a SIM mode of putting branches. We'll roll out at a slower pace than before, not because we are any short on growth, not because we want less liabilities, just because we believe the world is shifting. We'll watch closely on that front. Now, Ashutosh Naikji, what is the plan for expansion in rural areas? Rural is a fantastic business for us. We love it. We want to keep growing rural. I personally have been to many of those locations. In fact, I once went to a village and we met close to about 70 people in the village who were sitting there and were welcoming us. You'll be surprised if I tell you the story. I asked them how many have loan from us. In that group of 70 people, 40 or 45 hands went up, which is 45 out of 70 people that were financed by a bank in that one village. And they were all taking loans for buying a cow or a buffalo or a goat. And every one of them paying well. So the point I'm trying to say is that we love that space and we will definitely build on that. And, it's all good for society also. Now, IDFC Limited's role in future, I've already answered this. Till October of this year is 40%. After that, they may bring it down. but we'll try not to do anything disruptive. I'm sure we'll think about it in a proper way. Employee cost has increased by 22% Q on Q. How did you reduce cost during this quarter so sharply? A quick answer is that this quarter, because the disbursals were low, so we did not have to pay any DSA commissions. So it straight away impacted. So big production is because sourcing cost, the straight answer. But we're also doing a large number of cost reduction exercises at the bank. Every division of the bank has been asked to figure out what are the extra costs that are just not adding value. So basically, we are on that cost reduction exercise also at the same time. Opening a Twitter account of Mr. Vaidyanathan. Well, I must say that it's a big distraction. I know there are evolved people, names you mentioned, who are able to manage that. I believe for me, it will become a very big distraction. I have a work to do. I work in the morning. There are meetings after meetings after meetings. I've got to concentrate. One of the issues of being in a public role is that the public thinks they have reached you, but you have no time to even look at the comments. By the way, for social media, we have a team who tracks the information and feeds and deals with it. I focus on the job. Breakup of provision for the last quarter, COVID was 375, retail was 250 crores, and wholesale was 130 crores. The short answer to your question. Now, what is the bank strategy for doing business in post-COVID situation? It's a very good question. I wish I could answer a little more detail. But I can just say that we are well positioned. And how does the bank deal with cybersecurity? We think about it all the time. I personally pay a lot of attention in pushing the organization on this front, saying that, look, if you have a credit loss of 1 or 2% more, it's something the bank can live with. But if a cybersecurity issue comes, this can be much big issues for the bank. So we are aware of the issue. We focus on it. We put the latest technology in the front. We put a line, circle after circle of controls of the bank. So these are called circles of security. So I think they'll be pretty good on that front. Introducing Flexi RT suggestion, the answer is yes. Will RBI permit you to take AMC? I told you whether permit or not. I'm not going to apply to them. I have no plans to take any AMC business. We'll be a distributor rather than the manufacturer of these things. Consistency in quarterly timing of announcement. Why we announced last year phase 1, phase 2 results is that COVID was going on. Our deposits were good. We wanted to tell the market things are fine. That's why we did pre-results we announced, then post-results we announced. We don't want the practice. It just puts too much stress on the system. We got to reconcile too many things. Now we've come consistency quarter after quarter. We will announce it. Someone said your phone banking didn't pick up the phone. I'm sorry about that. I do think we need to improve. And you mentioned Kotak is doing a very good job. Thank you. Yeah, I really believe some of these evolved banks are doing a great job, and we should learn from them. CSR. Someone said that you appreciated it. So thank you for the CSR team hearing the conversation. Hopefully they'll be happy to hear that. Now, the next question someone asked, an important question, I don't want to duck this, is about the fact that IDFC, why do we have 570 crore outstanding shares? So someone said, looks, a very large number of shares. How do you deal with the situation? Let me just answer the question, because there is, especially the young chartered accountants who are joined us today, age 21, 22, 23. It'll be good for you to hear this. Sometimes people compare the share price of one bank and share price of another bank and say that share is 300, this share is 30 rupees, that the share price of 300 must be, a better quality bank or a more valued bank. The company is valued 30 rupees. That's not true. I want to just explain the technicality behind this. The market cap of a bank, market capitalization is the true worth of that bank at that point of time. For a given market cap, so in our case, a market cap is 15,000 crores. Now, if we have issued 580 crore shares, our share price is 27. If we have issued 58 crore shares for the same market cap, our share price could have been 300 rupees. So whether it is 30 or 300 makes no difference, depends on the number of shares we issued. So therefore, you should rightly focus on price to book value. You should focus on market cap. The share price is a representation of how many number of shares issued. If you do a good job, even from here, you will see appreciation if you can create core earning power. Now, next question someone has asked, how will you create value? I have answered the question to you. If you have intellectual property, if you have growth, if you have return on equity, and if you have scalability. On top of this, if we have corporate governance, we will definitely create value. I believe we are touching all these buttons. Now, with these questions, at least I'm done with all the questions that you asked, and that was just forwarded to me by my colleagues. I happen to be the public face of the bank, so you're hearing me. But the quality of people in the bank is really amazing.